Hello, everyone. It's the hardcore legend Mick Foley wishing a nice day to everyone there, right there at True Heel Heat. Yeah.
What's going on, everybody? This is your former AEW World Heavyweight Champion. Once a champion, always a champion. Swerve Strickland. Whose house? Swerve's house. You're watching True Heel Heat podcast.
Hello. It is me, your True Hill Phenom, SP3, and we are live on the True Hill Heat YouTube and Facebook for our NJPW New Japan Cup 2026 final review. Breaking down the spring tournament from New Japan Pro Wrestling, where the new generation has arrived as Shota Umino has been redeemed. Boltin Oleg has shut up all the naysayers. Yuya Uemura looking like the new ace of New Japan Pro Wrestling, but most of all, Callum Newman has made history, and we're going to break it all down with you today. And to do that, I am joined by my esteemed colleague. He is the main man, 100 grand here on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel when it comes to all things New Japan Pro Wrestling. He is the MC of the past, present, and future of NJPW here on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel. It is your boy, J-News. How the hell are you, J-News?
I'm good, man. I can't complain, really. We're gonna go through the highlights of what happened earlier on in the cup and then concentrate on the semifinals and the finals. You're gonna hear some surprising things from me. You might hear some very on-brand things from me as well.
Okay.
So let's get ready for the ride.
Before we give you all the pleasantries, we of course appreciate y'all for joining us live. Appreciate y'all for watching us on demand. Remember to show your appreciation back the simplest way possible by dropping a thumbs up on this video. You can also share this video with all your wrestling fans, friends, and family on all your favorite social media platforms. If you are new to the True Hill Heat YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell to stay notified for all the great content here. You can also sound off in the live chat. We love to interact with all of you, hear your thoughts on the New Japan Cup tournament in totality, but most of all, the semifinals and finals of the tournament, which we're going to go through on this review here. Let us know that also in the comments down below, and let us know your overall thoughts there as well. But most of all, you could sound off in the live chat. We love to interact with all of you, hear your thoughts on the New Japan Cup tournament, and anything you got to say. We'll try to highlight as many of your comments as possible. But of course, if you're feeling generous, you want to give back to what we do here, you want to show your support to the True Hill Heat YouTube channel in the best way possible, you could do so with a super chat donation. Any dollar amount matters. It goes back to the contributors that you see on screen with us here, and we always appreciate the support. Before we do that, I want to give you the spotlight, J-News, because I have to refresh my StreamYard because it's not letting me go to another brand. And you could small talk real quick. I'm only going to be gone for a few seconds. Small talk with the gang as I refresh my screen here. The floor is yours.
Well, folks, just want to let you guys know that this was one of those tournaments where the beginning of it wasn't the greatest, but then once the quarterfinals hit, we started getting some of those real banger matches and things of that nature. So for folks who want to check out the New Japan Cup and see as to how it all went down and how it all broke down, check out the brackets online through njpw1972.com. If you want to go back and see matches, I would just and you have your subscription to njpwworld.com, I would say go back and watch all the majority of the matches after the quarterfinals and stuff like that. You don't have to watch the tags at that, but go back and watch all the matches after the quarterfinals and stuff, because that's when things started to pick up. And some things surprised me, other things didn't. But we ended up exactly where we wanted to end up, SP3. And that's what it's all about.
I gotta say, I did do better than,
yes,
you sir, in regards to the main matches that we differed on. I didn't go with, you went with your heart a lot of times, and I went with my Gato brain. You got to think like Gato. What would Gato do? WWGD. That's what I followed on a lot of my predictions, and I knew guys like Ren Narita would go far. I did not expect Boltin Oleg to go as far as he did, but I was glad to see it, as I am a Boltin Oleg supporter, the only supporter out of our gang. Shout outs to Sanal, couldn't make it today, but she is the third person usually a part of our team, and we always gonna send love and support to her as always. We got in the chat some support as well from Zach Minger, who says this National Chip and Dip Day, SP3 and J-News. Thanks for letting us know. I Make Beats says, congrats to the Prince of Pace. Clapping emoji, applause emoji. And then he says, well-deserved. Man's making moves so young. 23 years old. He says, Newman G1 matches always hit too. Big up UK wrestlers. We also got Bloody Money, one of our good supporters, who says Yuya Uemura has to win the G1 Climax 36 if Tsuji is going to hold the IWGP Heavyweight Championship until next year Tokyo Dome. We'll get into that as well. We kind of already spoiled that when we talked about the New Japan, when we did our predictions. We kind of said the reason why we weren't gonna go with Yuya Uemura was that. So we've been on that bandwagon, Bloody Money. Welcome. We'll make room for you. Welcome to the bandwagon for Yuya Uemura G1. A lot of people were trying to blow their load early and having him win the New Japan Cup, and we both kind of stated, we was like, if he wins the New Japan Cup, that means he doesn't win the G1, and I think that's short-sighted.
Indeed. And we have there seems to be, after this New Japan Cup, and history does show that momentum at least from the fans' perspective, right? When it comes to specific wrestlers, momentum isn't all that it's cracked up to be in New Japan Pro Wrestling. But hopefully, with the ace at the head of New Japan now, things can change. I know that he wants to make some changes behind the scenes as well. So if momentum is ripe, as it is right now with certain guys in the younger generation, we should see certain things come into fruition. We talked about you're talking about Yuya Uemura. Right now I'm going to go back to calling him Shooter because before I redeem him the top Shota, he's got to do some things. But he's on his way. He's on his way. It was great to see him have the kind of tournament that he had. Obviously, we all know how Tsuji's doing and things of that nature. And the winner of this cup, which we're gonna freaking talk about a lot here, has a lot to say when it comes to the new generation as well for New Japan Pro Wrestling. So it's like I said in previous previews and reviews that we've done for New Japan shows, the talent is there. How they get used and how they get booked is the most important thing. So I think after this New Japan Cup, things are going in the right direction, and hopefully they continue that way.
Agreed 100% there. Some bad news in the world of Japanese wrestling for Bloody Money. Talking about Kazuda Hikikishu from DDT Pro Wrestling has officially retiring due to severe neck injury. He will be officially retired on April 5th at the DDT show. Yeah. So I saw that this morning as well.
Mm-hmm. I was still putting that on my timeline because I wasn't aware what was going on.
We also got a super chat donation from our main man, Genesis J. Thank you so much, Genesis J, for the support. As always, he says, Jake Lee could never be Newman. All hail the Prince. All hail the Prince. He has adapted what David Finlay taught him and embraced the hate. And that led him to a New Japan Cup win this year. So what we're going to do is we're not going to go through the entire semifinal night. We will just go through the two big matches from the semifinals. Then we'll talk about those matches, and then we'll go into the full show for the final night of the New Japan Cup tournament. But as always, with our pay-per-view reviews, our tournament reviews, kind of give us your overall thoughts on this year's New Japan Cup tournament. J-News.
It's like I was stating to everybody before when you had to, refresh and stuff like that. I thought that the beginning of the tournament, the first two rounds were a little bit on the slow side, but then when we got to the quarters, things started to pick up. I got to give everybody who was a part of the quarters and the semis and the finals their just due. At the end of the day, am I buying stock in the Boltin Oleg stock exchange? Yes,
you should.
I am. I'm not there yet, but I will give him credit for having the best match of his career in this tournament.
Wow.
So, yeah, that's that match versus Uemura, brother. I mean, I thought he did well with his match. With who was his quarterfinal match? SP3.
Was it Hanare?
That was a good bruising match. But what he was able to pull off with Uemura, man, those guys, it's interesting when you pair people together and the kind of chemistry that they have. And those cats showed out. And I got to give him his props there. But, to King of the North, I'm not getting on nobody's freaking bandwagon right now. I'm not getting on it. I want to give him his just due because he's deserved that. But I'm not buying stock. I'm not getting on anybody's bandwagon and stuff like that. So he's got to show me a little bit more. Yeah, man. We'll talk about it when we're talking about the semis and stuff like that. Shooter showed out. I got to give him props, man, because he's been in the shitter with a lot of New Japan fans, just Japanese fans in general, also fans in the West. And what he was able to do in this tournament, I think, is a good turning point for him. So that's something to look forward to. Not for nothing, I love goofy wrestling, and for whatever reason, I found myself, I don't know, man, the Jake Lee shit isn't bothering me as much anymore.
The fact that he has fully embraced that he's a clown and put on a clown face.
The silent gesture thing. I feel like, I don't know, man. It's not bothering me. I'm not gonna say I'm full on. It's just not bothering me anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Fair. That is fair. That is fair. But let's get into that semifinals. My main thought is that we have been talking about it for 3 years. Right? I've brought it up for 3 years now that I thought Yota Tsuji should have won the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship as soon as he arrived back at Dontaku in May of 2023. And we've been begging for Gato to just accept this new generation. We talked about it in depth after Okada and Osprey left in 2024. We was like, dude, what are you waiting for? Jump on the bandwagon. It's now time for this new generation. He decided to push the likes of Zack Sabre Jr. and Hiroki Goto instead over the next year. And then we begged for it again in 2025. And then it became clear that they were choosing Yota Tsuji as the next guy up. And then he didn't win the G1 and they gave it to Konosuke Takeshita and he wins the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. But Wrestle Kingdom was kind of the hint that we're finally moving on. You know, Hiroshi Tanahashi's retiring. We're putting the main title. We're putting both main titles on Yota Tsuji. But the New Japan Cup is what gave me full on faith to say the new generation has arrived. It's arrived now. Like this tournament was so about pushing forward with this Reiwa and new generation of New Japan Pro Wrestling. The new guys have stepped up tremendously and they have filled the void that has been prevalent in New Japan for the past 2.5 years. And I'm so glad to be here now and sticking with New Japan Pro Wrestling. But let's get into the semifinals. It was day 11. That was on last Friday. You had 2 semifinal matches to set up the finals on Saturday. It was Yuya Uemura first up against Boltin Oleg. And this one, man, this was a great styles clash where you got the more powerful and larger in Boltin Oleg using his strength advantage against the more technical proficiency of Yuya Uemura. Early on, Boltin Oleg tried to wear Uemura down on the mat. Uemura would use his kind of skill to get to target the stronger arm of Boltin Oleg, going after it a couple of different times before Boltin pulled out the Boltin shake and started overwhelming Uemura. He got caught. He caught Uemura on a high cross at one point and then showed off his power with a big slam. Uemura locked in a hold on the arm a couple of different times, which slipped due to struggles to leverage. And then Boltin was able to hit the short range kamikaze for a near fall. We get the desperation by Uemura, who tried to get different inside cradles. He hits big German suplexes, then transitions into the dragon suplex, but he's only able to get a near fall. You get Boltin, who crushed Uemura with this big power bomb. He was only able to get a near fall. Every time he tried to go for the long range, the proper kamikaze, it was Uemura who would fight it off. Eventually, he was able to hit the deadbolt suplex out of nowhere, and then he goes up top. He hits him with one high cross, then he goes up top again and hits a second high cross for the 1-2-3 to pick up the victory here. This was such a brilliant matchup. Like you said, I have the debate. I'll say there's a debate. I think Boltin Oleg is putting on some of the best matches of his career right now, because you could have told me, some people can tell me, the Tomohiro Ishii matchup at New Beginning USA was his best matchup last year with the matches with Konosuke Takeshita, but this kind of showed what he can offer with his power. His selling was great of the arm being worn down from the damage being done throughout the tournament, and Uemura taking advantage of that. Uemura is so smart how he works in the ring and works to the arm in so many different ways and wears it down, and then in the end busting out the high cross. This made him so much the Tanahashi successor. This whole tournament did such a great job at that, especially, the previous round with that excellent matchup against Shingo Takagi, but here against someone who's not one of the top in-ring performers, but a guy that has shown so much improvement throughout 2026. I think these two guys just mesh so well together, and I would love to see them run it back. But an absolutely terrific bout here. Both guys deserve the tip of the cap, showing that fighting spirit throughout this matchup. I love this match. This was one of the better matches of the tournament. I know before the final, I put this in my top 4 for the tournament before the final matchup. I gave this 4.5 stars. Love this match. What did you think, J-News?
No, man, it's like I was saying before we were just previewing stuff and whatnot, man. I thought this is obviously it's my personal opinion. I think that this is Boltin Oleg's best match of his career, without question. Like you said, like the selling that he brought, he saved Uemura's deadbolt suplex. Him tucking that chin, brother, he would have hit that head, man. Oh, I was like, Jesus. But he was able to get him over, man. That was it. Just felt like just them doing their amateur stuff to begin the match and then trying to grapple with one another at one point where Uemura was showing off stuff I hadn't seen him do before. And I was like, okay, the training wheels are off. Someone told Uemura, go ahead, do your shit, get your shit in, kid, and make it happen. And that's what I felt watching this match, man. And Boltin brought it, brother. I gotta give him credit where credit is due. At the end of the day, he didn't look like yet again, this is me. He didn't look like a bumbling idiot out there, bro. And that to me is definitely a plus. He's definitely improved leaps and bounds over the last year or so, at least in my eyes. Because you know me, man, I'm still not a full-on fan of his and everything that goes on with him. But this match definitely proved to, and the match that he had with Hanare proved to me, yeah, you deserve to be the strong open weight champion. You deserve to be 1/3 of the never open weight 6-man championship. And for all intents and purposes, with what was going on during the tag matches, the multi-man matches, past the semifinals, sorry, it seems that he's going to be going after the never open weight championship going forward to take that off a Narita and stuff like that, man. So I wouldn't mind seeing a 3 belts Oleg run right now with where he's at right now, because he's on fire right now and he's showing that he can bring the strong style and that true heavyweight wrestling style that doesn't get limited by 5 moves of doom. It works for him, you know what I'm saying? And he can show that true power and his agility and his quickness, man. Because a lot of the times, like I said, it's a harsh term, but I felt like he looked like a bumbling idiot out there, and he did not look that way during this tournament, and I got to give him props for that. On top of everything else, but Uemura, man, like he's set up, man. Right now, he's in the perfect spot, and for all intents and purposes, he's the next one up. Using the aces high to defeat freaking Boltin Oleg here and stuff like that, getting his power and his finesse move set working throughout the entire tournament. I was like, wow, somebody had a talk with this kid, because it's like they sat him down, they told him unleash the beast and get her going. All the different training, all the different senpais he's had over the last couple of years, and the people that he's trained with and whatnot. The culmination is what we're seeing here in the New Japan Cup, and he's finally fully healthy at the end of the day. So that's also an important thing. So he definitely was able to distinguish himself in this tournament. So I think that, yeah, man, big props to the two of them. This match was incredible. Outside of the Callum Newman matches for the semis and the finals, this is definitely top 4 for me for the tournament. When it comes to the matches and stuff like that. So props to Boltin Oleg, and props to Yuya Uemura for definitely carving out his niche here in New Japan.
Yeah, I think like this match, the match we're about to talk about, ZSJ versus Ryohei Uemura, that was a big moment for Uemura, taking Zach to the limit. I think from the pre-semifinals, that was the best matchup of the tournament. And I think that's still in like the top 4, top 5 matches of the tournament, even after the semifinals and finals of the tournament, because Oyawa, that was probably the best performance I've seen from him. He had a great matchup with Yuta Ice in the first round, which was the highlight of the first round, but that was a standout. Zach was amazing in this tournament. His match with Shota Umino felt like that was a big moment for Umino as well. We got talking about this matchup, King of the North, who says this match was set up to fail for me because I didn't think Oleg had a chance at winning, and I'm not an Uemura fan. This match overcame both things, and I thought it rocked. He says they should put the never openweight championship back on him. 3 belts, Oleg. I think I'm down for it. I'm down for it, especially since the person who has the never openweight championship as well. That's another part of it.
And I agree with you. I think I'm down for Boltin having all 3 belts at this point. He'll be the unified open weight champion across the board. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Man, it just to cherry pick here. You just mentioned Ren Narita without mentioning Ren Narita, and it sucks to not have him be a part of this rise of the new generation, to be quite honest.
He was a freaking blemish on the whole tournament. I would say his best matchup of the tournament was the Boltin Oleg matchup, because Boltin was able to overcome the House of Torture nonsense, but his matchup with Satoshi Kojima was probably the worst match of the entire tournament.
I wanted all the new generation guys to climb up the ranks and be stars in their own right for New Japan and things of that nature. And he's the one falling by the wayside right now. Is it because he's tied to the House of Torture? Maybe, but it's like even when Evil was around, he was still like, he was the leader. He was the standout. Everybody paid attention to Evil. And I know that Ren's supposed to be the leader of the House of Torture right now, but it's like, it just doesn't even feel like that. And he's never open weight champion by consequence at this point, right? Because they had to take the title off of Aaron Wolf. So it's like, I don't know.
We'll talk about it more when we get to the opener of the final night, but there's a new top guy in the House of Torture. I'm sorry, and I can't believe I'm going to say it, because he had the best match out of everybody from that group in the tournament and then on this show as well. But we'll get into that, because we got to talk about the main event from day 11, which was the second semifinals match. Shota Umino versus Callum Newman. You get Newman and Umino circled each other very cautious at the very beginning before Umino shocked Newman with a big shoulder tackle. We get early on, Umino, he got a busted nose in the matchup against ZSJ in the quarterfinals, and you had Callum Newman, who went directly after that, popped him with a big elbow strike right to the nose and started pulling on his nose, busting him open again, having to kind of take advantage of that. We've seen more of a bullying style from the Prince of Pace in this matchup. He was wearing him down with big elbow strikes and chops throughout. You get Umino trying to fight from underneath, but Callum Newman kind of wrestling even bigger than he is in stature, and he's put on a lot of muscle, but he was just wrestling like just a overpowering bully in this matchup, which really got the crowd involved, trying to rally behind Umino. Umino hits a drop kick on the outside into the barricades, goes Newman, setting him up perfectly for a running knee strike as Newman was hanging across the barricade, and then he hits him with a stuff DDT where Newman landed right directly on the top of his head. Newman was able to fight back. At one point, he spits at Tanahashi. He would do the same during the final as well. Finally, we get the two men. They had set up a table at ringside early on in the matchup, and then it seemed like Umino was in full control as he's hitting a bunch of big moves, and then out of nowhere, Newman hits him and finally hits a powerbomb out of the ring, over the top rope, through 2 tables at ringside. Umino had to fight, and he was finally able to get inside the ring before the count of 20. Unwisely, you get Newman, who unremoves his wrist tape and shows off the crown, telling Kiss the Crown when to do his big lariat. But Umino was able to dodge that, and then he hits a huge lariat, turning Newman inside out. Newman would unleash, and he hits Excalibur out of nowhere, but Umino was able to kick out of it. We get the 1-2 combination of a poison Rana and then a lariat, which got Shooter back in full control. But it was Newman who took advantage of a referee distraction, referee almost getting ran into by Shota Umino, who stopped short. He would hit a low blow, and then he followed up with the Prince's Curse for the 1-2-3 to pick up the victory here. Tremendous matchup. I would say one of Shota Umino's best non-Will Ospreay matches of his entire career. This was Shota Umino shutting up a lot of the naysayers. Everybody has been down on Shota Umino, and we here on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel, we've been singing the praises and seeing the improvement of Shota Umino, especially since last year's New Japan Cup when he made it to the finals and he started this second chapter, as he's called it, for himself, changing the aesthetics of himself as well early on in this year, getting rid of the bell bottoms and going more back to the tights and the shorts. That has been an improvement. The tag team with Yuya Uemura did a lot of goodwill for him, but in this tournament, he completely redeemed himself to me. Like this performance, the Zack Sabre Jr. match, hell, he had a good matchup with Yujiro Takahashi, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't think I would say that in the year of our Lord 2026, but Shota Umino did. I feel like the reclamation project of the New Japan Cup was Shota Umino, and he's one of the MVPs of the entire tournament. We get, after the matchup, Newman gets on the mic and he informs Umino that he's not on his level, but the door would always be open for him to join United Empire, similar to what David Finlay told Shota Umino, opening the door for him to join the War Dogs after he lost the New Japan Cup final last year. We get Callum, who beckons to whomever is next to face him, and out came Yuya Uemura, met him in the ring, setting the stage for the next night in the finals, which we will get to in a moment here. But my lord, I gave the Boltin Oleg Yuya Uemura match, I said that was like 4.5 stars. This was a slightly better. They went 30 minutes. This felt like an epic New Japan Pro Wrestling main event. Fired up crowd in Nagata as well. I gave this one 4 3/4 stars. This was another one of the best matches of the entire tournament. What did you think?
I feel like Shooter is best in the ring when he's laying shit in. And I know a lot of the time the wrestlers who are supposed to be the baby faces and stuff like that, they protect themselves, they don't get too violent, they don't hit too hard. But that's when Shooter's at his best, because that match took a turn when that elbow hit the jaw of Callum Newman. When that shit popped in that arena, I was like, okay, we getting something a little different here. I was like, so they, for all intents and purposes, dude, like I think this is just the character arc for Shooter, right? He's the ups and downs, the roller coasters of life, him evolving, him maturing, and all this other stuff. By the way, I'll say this just randomly or whatever. The older he gets, the more he looks like his dad. But it's there. So there's that. But yeah, man, I think the evolution of the wrestler, of the character of Shooter Umino, especially now, as you mentioned, that Callum offered him the doors open if you ever want to wear some green. And it's interesting, right? Where it's the two different heads of two different factions wanting Shooter to be a part of their faction. I think Walker and Chris mentioned it during commentary, where he's a valuable asset to have as a part of a faction at the end of the day.
Yeah.
That being Shooter Umino. So it's like, all right, so we're giving him a certain level of recognition. He has value, right? He's up there amongst the guys of the new generation. Do they ever push him to the stratosphere? Do they ever, strap the rocket pack to him? They tried that too early at the end of the day, but do they ever, make the move again? He's up there, man. And I always felt like the boys who were, the Rewa boys at the end of the day, all had the talent in order to be a top of the card. And right now it's just showing across the board. And with Shooter now being where he's at, the G1 should be somewhere where he continues to show out. Him and Uemura both, right? Now that Callum won the New Japan Cup at the end of the day, one of the other guys has to win the G1. And it's going to be interesting. But I want to say that, like you said, man, this is one of Shooter's best matches outside of the Will Ospreay matches and stuff like that, and whatever matches he can ever have with Ishii, because, you know, Ishii's always pushing everybody to have their best matches. And yeah, man, proud of Shooter in this one. Proud of him in this one. It would be interesting from a character dynamic, hypothetically speaking, of him to join one of those heel factions. Just as from an evolution of character standpoint, I don't know if they'll ever pull the trigger on that, but because he wants to do things his own way, right? That's the evolution of his character. Shooter wants to do things his way, so he doesn't want to do it someone else's way. So we'll see if any of that ever takes place. But yeah, man, impressive. Proud of him for all intents and purposes, especially with this tournament and whatnot. And I definitely want to see more out of Shooter in this. And talk about Callum Newman, man. Listen, bro. I've been watching the kid since he was 16. And did I know he had this in him? No. but am I happy to see where he's at now? Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And I'll make a comment when we get to the finals about something that Callum said during I believe it was his post-match, not the presser in the back, but when he was on the mic in the ring. He said something that kind of keyed me into where we're going towards for Forbidden Door this year. So yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, we got a bunch of love for Shooter in the chat from Call Me Mr. Bonda. And you are right, King of the North. Yeah, the worst match was Bad Luck Fale versus Aaron Wolf, but I kind of just tried to Thanos snap that from my memory. So yeah.
You know what, man?
You are right.
He's right. King of the North, you're absolutely right, man. It always, it's interesting to know how good of a human being Bad Luck Fale is, but just how crappy of a wrestler.
Great guy. When I met him, I had a cool chat with him, but yeah.
His wrestling match is bad. I don't know, man. I just don't know.
God bless. But yes, that moved us on to Saturday, where they had the final night of the New Japan Cup tournament, and we're gonna go through the whole show on this one, not just the final. So we'll start off with the first match. Our opening matchup was a special matchup. We had a title match on this card for the NJPW World Television Championship. It was Konosuke Takeshita making his return to New Japan Pro Wrestling as he made his first defense as the champion, and he was made an open challenge, and out came two members of the House of Torture, Yujiro Takahashi and Chase Owen. It looked like they did like a rock, paper, scissors where Yujiro won, since this show was taking place in Yujiro's hometown. So he got a nice little response from the fans who were excited to see him in Nagato. Is it called that? Or what is
I think they were in Nagaoka.
Nagaoka, yeah. Nagaoka, which is his hometown. So he was getting a positive response from the fans here. Early on, you get Takeshita, who was struck from behind by Owens with a neck breaker as Takahashi took control. He hit him with a reverse DDT on the outside, trying to get the count-out victory, since the title could change hands by count-out. We even get Chase, who tries to hold on to Takeshita's foot. Takeshita has to panically try to kick him off and get back into the ring, which he was able to. We get Owens interfering at various times, trying to give Takahashi the advantage. Takahashi getting a near fall on the intercollegiate slam at another point. You get Chase, who comes in and he gets another shot in on Takeshita. Takeshita was able to fight this off for a bit. He would hit the power drive knee at one point, looked like he had the pinfall, but Yujiro kicking out to a big pop pop from the crowd. The crowd was like quiet whenever he got help from Chase, but whenever he was on offense, they were cheering for him. Even when he was doing the House of Torture nonsense, like the low blow, and then he hits the pimp juice, he only gets a near fall with that. He tried to use the pimp cane, but the champion was able to dodge that. You get Chase Owens, who comes in with the referee distracted, and he gets hit with a blue thunder bomb from Takeshita. Eventually, Takeshita is able to fight off Yujiro. He hits him with the world-class forearm and then finishes him off with the Raging Fire for the 1-2-3 to retain the NJPW World Television Championship. With Takeshita getting his first defense under his belt, he said that he had unfinished business to take care of. So he issued a challenge to the man that beat him in the G1 Climax tournament, and he wants to face Shota Umino next for the NJPW World Television Championship. More on that when we get to Shooter's matchup on this show, but a cool matchup to kind of promote early on in the show for Sakura Genesis. This match was actually better than I thought it would be. I thought this was a decent enough matchup. I would give it 3 stars, which is as high as I've gotten any Yujiro matchup in the past 10 years. Yujiro was quite the surprise here. Like, the crowd got behind him against Shota Umino in the second round of the New Japan Cup tournament. Despite that matchup being ruined by House of Torture nonsense, he looked good in that matchup, and he looked good here, and he had the crowd behind him. So it was a nice change of pace seeing Yujiro actually try for once. What did you think?
It's interesting, right? When these House of Torture guys try, and they're able to pull off some decent matches and stuff like that. But it was cool to see the Alpha do his thing as NJPW World Television Champion, because for whatever reason they're just not acknowledging that on AEW TV. That's another conversation for another day. At the end of the day, Takeshita's the man, bro. And the way that I'm seeing it now, it seems that they're using Takeshita to help get over the newer generation guys with the way it's been laid out over the last year or so. And that's not a bad thing at the end of the day, because he is the kind of wrestler that he is, and he is the kind of star that he is. But they used him with Tsuji. Now they're about to use him with freaking Shooter at the end of the day, so it's like, okay, this works. I'm okay with this. This is his role. As long as he plays up his role and continues to give us fantastic matches, I'm okay with it. So him challenging Shooter to get his win back from his loss in the G1. That's how that trail works there and whatnot. It's simple in New Japan, man. No overwrought stories, no television drama shit. It's like, nah, he beat me 6 months ago. I want to get my leg back. You know what I'm saying? So
Pretty much.
That's how all that works. So I'm looking forward to that match there. But yeah, man, look, the Tokyo Pimp, the only one left. He went out there in front of his home crowd, and he was getting cheered, which was just surprising to me. But yeah, the hometown guys always get cheered, and yeah, man, it was funny to hear that. But he also went out there and put on a show to have a good match, or a decent enough match. With Takeshita here to open up the night. So I got to give the Tokyo Pimp his props here in doing that. And there was no need for Chase Owens at the end of the day. So mention that.
They just wanted to make it a little bit more even. The only way it's even for Yujiro is if he has help against someone like Takeshita, who's one of the best wrestlers in the world today. So I understand. Next we get some babyface versus babyface action, as we got trios matchup. We got Taichi, El Desperado, and Masatori Yoshida versus Bishamon, Hiroki Goto, and Yoshihashi, teaming up with Young Lion Tatsuya Matsumoto. Matsumoto, he would work over the left arm of his fellow Young Lion in the early going. Bishamon convened with Matsumoto to rain down fists on Yoshida's back for a bit. We get Taichi, who momentarily gained control with the spinning back fist to Goto. Matsumoto would come in and he started firing off some offense. He had to go at it with Tai Chi. He even got a duck under suplex to Desperado. At one moment they did the pile up, did Bishamon and Matsumoto try to get the advantage on the opposite team here. But it was Desperado who hits a spine buster, followed by Pinche Loco on Matsumoto to pick up the victory for his team here. This was a kind of a Hontai battle of two trios from the Hontai faction doing battle here. I like the fact that you get Despi and Taichi teaming up here with Yasuda kind of being the young lion, the young boy for Taichi as of late. But this was kind of inconsequential when it comes to the grander scale of what's going on in New Japan right now, but it was fun for what it was. I gave it 2.5 stars. Any thoughts?
Yeah, to your point, it didn't tie into any of the major stories going on, or the storyline, should I say, going on with the tournament or overall, even going forward to Sakura Genesis right now. The Young Lions are in a bit of a buffer period right now with new guys coming in, Yasuda and Matsumoto now being the seniors in the class, which is weird to say. But they definitely have to show out, and I don't think that it's going to be too long before I know that Nagai doesn't want to go on excursion, but it's not going to be too long before those two young guys go on their excursion. So the No Gate Dojo is just churning people out right now because they need the bodies at the end of the day. So that's something else that people need to pay attention to going forward in the months and years to come with New Japan. But yeah, not inconsequential here. Didn't really provide anything even for the Death Invitational. So, like you said, it was inconsequential to any of the corresponding shows in the coming weeks and months.
Just saw that Nick Gage just got announced for the Death Pain Invitational. Mm-hmm. I was like, let's go. I think that's the proper type of guys you need on this show that Despy's during WrestleMania weekend. So we'll see
him and Matt Tremont and Rina Yamashita just got put on there as well. So they've been to get real violent.
Absolutely. Then we got two House of Torture versus Hontai matches on this card. First one was House of Torture's Sho, Doki, and Yoshinobu Kanemaru versus Yo, Master Wato, and Ryosuke Taguchi. This is a preview tag for the Yo versus Doki matchup for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. That's coming up on April 2nd from Kurgan Hall on the road to Sakura Genesis. Taguchi early on, he would use his butt powers against the members of House of Torture. He rescued Yo from the ambush by House of Torture, planting Doki on the mat. House of Torture would resort to more of their double team and cheating antics. They would use the steel guardrail on their opponents on the outside. They did a low blow to Master Wato against the ring post at another point. Kanemaru engaged Wato in a Boston Crab, with Doki following it up with a brainbuster. Yo and Sho got at it, with Yo hitting a big DDT. He slinged Doki on the outside into the guardrail. We get Taguchi, who broke up Doki's daybreak DDT, and he applied his ankle lock, looked to get the submission victory here, but Doki was able to pull the referee down so Kanemaru could hit a low blow on Taguchi with a wrench. This allowed for Doki to flip over and get the pinfall due to the cheating antics usually of House of Torture. No surprise here. And he gets the 1, 2, 3. This was a House of Torture match, so 1 3/4 stars. I'm looking forward, though, to Yo and Doki, because every Doki title defense, I'm just hoping for a title change. And it just feels like Yo is at that point where it's now or never. And the way that Doki has dragged down this junior heavyweight division, it needs to stop. It needs to stop now. There's way too much positivity right now and positive momentum for New Japan Pro Wrestling to have one of their divisions being basically held hostage by the House of Torture nonsense. And the fact that Doki has not delivered any good to great matches since his return, since joining House of Torture. We need to end this, and we need to end this on April 2nd. I'm praying for Yo to finally win the big one. What did you think about the tag? What do you think about Yo versus Doki being announced for April 2nd in Kurgan Hall?
I'm with my good brother Genesis J, man. I'll never forget how they ruined Doki, son. Never forget. He was on fire before
He
that
was.
freaking injury, man. He was on fire. And for them to have him turn heel and join the House of Torture and hijack and kidnap that IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship, man, that's unforgivable, man. That's unforgivable. But for all intents and purposes, to your point, I was going to say the same thing, bro. It is now or never for Yo. Yo is 37 years old. He's not that young anymore, and they need to get the ball rolling here. And he's had tremendous matches throughout the last calendar year. So if he has another tremendous match here with Doki, and I'm with you, SP3. This is his time. They got to crown him here, because if not, then he's just gonna be another member of the roster at the end of the day. And I feel like Yo has he has good qualities about him as a wrestler, as an artist. At the end of the day, he's a very unique individual and stuff like that. So to play that up on screen for New Japan, it's different. Secondarily, it'll just add to the rest of the show from an entertainment standpoint. Obviously throughout the tournament, he's been doing all the evil stuff since Evil's left and all that jazz. So that's been funny. Goofy wrestling for life, as I like to say. Shouts to Simon Miller. But yeah, man, this is his last shot. And not for nothing, I get that you have to have, and this has always been the tradition with New Japan stuff, that they'll have the junior stuff the night before the main show, or the show before the main show. And it's like, nah, man, just put the fucking junior match, championship match, on the main show. Like, it's like, stop diminishing the juniors here. You have to lift them up somehow. So, just book them on the main show. That's just a quibble of mine there. So yeah, man, this is his last shot, bro. This is his last shot. Just from the optic standpoint, and they got to crown him, because all these championships in the House of Torture just make no sense. Shit gets, things get jailed going into the House of Torture vortex, and they don't have a need for that right now.
They can't deal with that. Like, there's too much positive momentum for New Japan right now. They need to free the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. We got Yusuf in the chat who says, SP3 and J-News, have you guys seen the announcement about the change in how the Best of Super Junior entries will be announced this year? He says from March 28th to the April 4th, they will announce 3 entries a day, and on social media with the blocks announced on Sakura Genesis. I don't mind that. I mean, I did prefer when they did Sakura Genesis, they announced the entries, and then by Dontaku they announced who's in the block. But I don't mind that switching up. I don't think that's that big of a change, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're just doing it to keep intrigue and stuff like that, and wanting to keep the fans on the edge of their seats to see as to who's going to be a part of the Best of Super Juniors tournament and stuff like that. Last year's tournament wasn't as good as it could have been, so they need to turn this one around for sure. How they do that? Obviously, you put your new generation guys in there, and you go to town. But you also have to, the Super Juniors tournament's always been known to bring a foreign talents over for it as well. So they need to get some foreign talents in there, even from wherever they're from. It doesn't have to be American wrestlers. It could be guys from the UK. It can be, dudes popping in India. For God, I care. You know what I'm saying? So they're guys from Tamashi. They just get different flares, different flavors in there. And yeah, man, like, just get that diversity going for the Best of Super Juniors. Obviously, they still have the relationships with all the other Japanese companies, so we can see maybe we could see Amakusa come through, maybe Mao if he's not too much of a super heavyweight again this time around from DDT. So there's that of it, and good shout from Yusuf there. He's just taking the guy. It's on you to save the boss. Listen,
yes, I said it. I said this on social media. I'll say it here. Dake the guy must be in the Best of Super Juniors tournament. Please,
he should
dear
be.
God.
He should be in the Best of Super Juniors. He's got a flair to him, man, and he does. Like I said, he doesn't want to go on excursion. So they've got to do some real work with him here. I think, the fire that he showed throughout tag matches with Kosei Fujita was cool.
And Zack Sabre Jr. and him, they had magic together on
exactly.
This tour.
So Nagai is he's the future of the junior division. Yasuda's going to be in the junior division if all comes to bear. Same thing with Matsumoto. Obviously we have the not the stalwarts, but the guys who've been around for a couple of years now. The kid from the United Empire, Francesco Akira, he's part of this of the junior division and stuff like that. So get all those diverse and international talents booked for the Best of Super Juniors, especially it's going to be that beginning of the summer tournament thing. So hopefully it goes better this year. But yeah.
We shall see what happens there. We got some love for Draken Daya. A lot of people believing that he signed with New Japan Pro Wrestling, which wouldn't be that big of a surprise since he's been a part of the last two Best of Super Juniors tournament. And I suspect him to be a part of
last week.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm there lost. Like, who the hell are they talking about? I was like, because they never put the dragon in front of the name.
Draken Daya.
It's out there
like,
like,
theme song, man. That's a bop.
All right, that's cool. I could dig that. I'm with that. Call me Mr. Bonda. He never fails, man. Máscara Dorada, please and thank you. And
that would be chef's kiss.
And for all intents and purposes, all love to my guy. Get Commander in that shit, and let's have a party. You know what I'm saying?
I wouldn't mind that either. I already put out my claim for AEW talent, and I said Alec Price and Jordan Oliver.
Oh, sure, man.
Seeing those guys in there if there's room.
The three young guys that I feel should be meshed together, busted in the brain, along with Nick Wayne. I think they should all be involved, man.
Nick Wayne gotta catch up on defending the TV title since they let him hold it for 8 months while he was injured. So
he's been on.
Let him stay in America.
Yeah, he's been on good point, but, he's been on TV the last
you get next up tag team action. United Empire's Great Okan and Hanare versus Shota Umino and Tamaki Honma. Umino and Hanare were the highlight of this matchup. Early on, they had a standoff in the beginning moments, culminating with like a shoulder tackle battle between the two men. You get Okan and Hanare then swarmed Shooter after taking Honma off the apron. He fought back, hits a drop kick on Hanare, some chops on Khan. We get Umino then dazed Hanare, so Honma could come in and hit his Kokeshi. We got this great face off between the two guys where I think it was Hanare kicks Shooter in the back and Shooter just gets up and just clocks him with this big forearm, staggering Hanare. Hanare came back with some moves of his own. You get later on, it's down to Honma and Hanare in the ring. Hanare would hit him with a big Samoan drop, and then he secured the full Nelson and a Southern Cross before dismantling him with a furious of a big time full Nelson, making him tap out to forgive the United Empire the victory here. A dominating win for United Empire as they picked up momentum heading into the final. Like I said, the highlight of this matchup was Hanare and Umino, especially their back and forth with the forearms and the hard strikes. I've really enjoyed Hanare's work throughout this tour, and especially his work in the New Japan Cup tournament with Boltin Oleg, having that hoss fight that they did there. You got a little bit of a confrontation between Shooter and United Empire after the matchup, but Shooter also went over and walked over to Konosuke Takeshita, who is at commentary, basically giving him the nod to accept his challenge from earlier in the night. And it was made official this morning that at Sakura Genesis on April 4th for the NJPW World Television Championship, it will be Konosuke Takeshita going one-on-one with Shota Umino, which should be a great matchup. This tag team matchup here, this was fine. I gave it 2 3/4 stars. What did you think about the tag match? And then Shooter and Takeshita being made official?
So yeah, Shooter and Takeshita being made official is, you know, it's for the sickos at the end of the day. I feel that match is coming for the true fans of the graps and the pro wrestling there. I liked Shooter's delayed reaction going over to Takeshita when he was on commentary and finally making the head turn. And I was like, you dramatic son of a bitch. And I was like, you didn't have to do all that. But it made all the sense in the world. But I also want to mention, and you touched on it, SP3, what seems to be the full-on recruitment of Shooter Umino by members of the United Empire here. So, you know, not just Callum Newman on the mic, but Hanare just showing him up, you know, all due respect and everything else in between, and just trying to get him to come over. Not for anything right now, man. Not for anything. I don't know what Okan's place is and all this shit, man. I just don't know. I just don't know what Okan's place is in all this, man. I don't know.
He used to be the spokesperson, but Callum Newman has fully took over the leadership and the spokesperson position for the group. So yeah, he's not the enforcer because that's more Hanare.
Exactly.
So
I don't know, man. Even
senior. He's the senior member. He's still one of the OGs, one of the original members of United Empire.
I guess, man, but even the JAYs get more heat than freaking Okan nowadays. So, you know, I don't know, man. I don't know. He's just there.
Hey,
right
we need a heavyweight tag team in United Empire. That's Hanare and Great Okan.
They mentioned them. They're probably going to be next up after, you know, Zach and Ryohei get done with KOB and whatnot. But man, Okan's just there, bro. He's just there.
He's like, I got no time for no Great Okan, y'all. He said, "Oh, my hate is lessening for Boltin Oakland. Now it's more for Great Okan."
Yeah, man. It's like, well, what are we doing here, bro? Like, he's just coming about in his suits, you know, unbraided, long thing, whatever he has in his hair. With the small
it's a rat tail.
The rat tail, whatever that is, with the small glasses on commentary. And I'm like, you playing a character, brother? Like, are you supposed to be the Mafia Don bad guy boss? Like, what's going on, bro? Like, you're not stirring the drink right now. You know what I'm saying?
Gotta work on that, bro. Speaking of United Empire, they were up next as well. We had Jake Lee, Francisco Akira, NJAY, Jacob Austin Young versus Unbound Company, Shingo Takagi, Taiji Ishimori, and Drilla Maloney. We get a full-on brawl in the early going. Maloney stood unflinched to the attempts by Young trying to topple him, and we get a brawl between Shingo and Jake Lee in the crowd in the early goings of the matchup. When the match eventually gets to the ring, Unbound Company was able to rattle off some offense here. We get Akira, who pinned Maloney to the barricade on the outside, whereas Lee chased down Takagi into the crowd again. We get an irate Young who stomped a mud hole through on Drilla, but Takagi comes in. He gets revenge on Lee with a dangerous driver. Unfortunately, he falls victim to Lee's glove freaking dentist work as he starts pulling on the mouth and the dental work of Shingo. The junior tag team of Akira and JAY were working well, putting on the offense on Taiji Ishimori throughout this matchup. We get a lot of sequences between Shingo and Jake Lee, kind of solidifying a rivalry between Lee and Shingo in this one after their departures from the New Japan Cup tournament. In the end, though, Ishimori was forced to tap out to Akira's ground tarantula as he gets the tap out victory on one half of the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champions. Post-match, we get a brawl breaking out between Jake Lee and Shingo as they are just continuing their hostilities with one another. Drilla Maloney would also get involved in this, trying to come at Jake Lee, who was in full-on clown makeup in this matchup, embracing his role as the court jester of the United Empire at this point, but it was United Empire who picked up the victory here. This was a little fun. This was a pretty fun matchup here. I enjoyed it. I gave it 3 stars, but this was mostly for Jake Lee just embracing himself as the clown of the group. And I like in how Akira and JAY have been working well with one another. And speaking of which, they get a shot at the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championships coming up on April 2nd from Corrigan Hall. The road to Sakura Genesis is going to be Robbie X and Taiji Ishimori versus Jacob Austin Young and Francisco Akira, following the attack by the United Empire following their title victory for Robbie and Ishimori. Robbie still out of action, still recovering from the injury at the hands of Francisco Akira back at the anniversary show. So we'll see him back here in Japan on April 2nd. What did you think about this trios matchup here?
I thought it led to what it was supposed to lead to at the end of the day. I know that either Robbie is selling the injury or he's actually injured. I don't necessarily know what the deal is per se.
I think he's selling.
Yeah, probably just selling it at the end of the day. But Ishimori looks leaner than he has in quite some time. He's moving great in the ring. Got to give Taiji his props there, man, for at his age keeping on doing what he's been doing. Jake Lee just doubling down, tripling down into the silent jester. He was workshopping all this shit the last couple of months. And he's finally landed on something that I'm not sure if it works, quote unquote. But like I said, I'm just not annoyed with it anymore. So it's like it's passable right now, right? And they have Akira now together with the JAY. So I want to see as to how they come together as a tag team. Because, for all the shit that I give him at the end of the day, and he'll continue to get my shit to the end of time, TJP and Francisco Akira were one hell of a tag team at that point. And, he made his bed and he's lying in it, and now he's getting WWE money. So props to him.
Hey, you get a check. As long as you get a check, I ain't mad at you.
But right now, I want to see how it all coalesces between the JAY and Akira with their more aggressive style and nature that they've been projecting on TV and in matches. This is going to be this particular match here versus Ishimori and Robbie X is going to be, for lack of a better term, it's going to be showtime for JAY, man. If he can't produce here, I'm not sure what'll happen to him. I think he'll just become like Okan and just be there. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see how it all goes down in that regard. But I'm looking forward to that tag team match. Who was a part of the Unbound Co team in this match outside of Taiji?
Drilla, Ishimori, and Shingo.
And Shingo. So, I think the heavyweight tag team division is set up well right now. So those two guys with Drilla and Shingo, they're also up there in the stratosphere where they can put them in matches with KOB and stuff like that. Like their heavyweight tag team division is set up well right now. And not for nothing, Yoshihashi and Goto are back together and whatnot. We talked about Ryohei and Zach. So they've got good amount of teams for that particular division there to keep on to keep going. And I think that this match just was a good look for everybody involved, and had the Good Brothers working and getting a paycheck. So it is what it is.
This is outrageous, big man dogs. Don't compare these two. He says Okan is the leader of United Empire and Newman is the ace, just like how Machine Gun was the leader and not AJ. Big brain. He put the brain emoji.
First of all,
Newman has said he is the leader of United Empire. He's not just the ace. He's the leader.
This revisionist history, I just don't. I don't even know what this is about. Big man dogs, like, man, no. Okan is just there, brother. He's a leader of nothing right now. He ain't even got the hose with him no more, man. What we doing? What we
needs to come back. He needs to come back to the States and embrace his real self. We get more trios action up next. We get House of Torture versus Hontai once again. House of Torture's Ren Narita, Don Fale, and Dick Togo, or as I like to call them, Don Naridick, versus Boltin Oleg, Toriano, and Aaron Wolf of Hontai. Narita's was basically scared shitless from Boltin Oleg in the early going. We get him trying to halt the offense, trying to distract him as Dick Togo was trying to get away from Boltin, but Boltin catches him with the Boltin shake. He threw all the House of Torture members about for a bit. We get Togo, who whirled the legal Yano into the steel railings on the outside and then into the ring to deliver a series of elbow and knee drops. Yano slapped the back of Fale's head and then blamed it on the referee. He took advantage of his distraction and removed the turnbuckle pad. Eventually, you get a House of Torture who start distracting the referee in their own unique ways to do the dick-to-dick contact to Aaron Wolf. Aaron Wolf, he rampaged in the ring, dispatching of Dick and dropping a senton on Fale. It really seems like they're going to continue this Wolf and Fale rivalry as he still is trying to cut his teeth in New Japan Pro Wrestling. House of Torture went mobile as they ran their train on Wolf for a bit. We get Togo, who shanked in horror at the looming shadows of Boltin Oleg and Wolf when he was surrounded by the big men. And eventually it was Aaron Wolf who put the Dick away by choking him out with the triangle hold as he got the victory for his team. This was better than I expected. 2.5 stars, better than the other House of Torture trios matchup. Post-match, we get Boltin Oleg, who raises the Never Openweight Championship, but I guess to earn his shot, even though he kind of earned his shot already when he beat Narita in the New Japan Cup tournament, I guess to earn his shot further, we're going to get first House of Torture challenging Boltin Oleg and Bishamon for the Never Openweight 6-man tag team championships. That's going to go down at Sakura Genesis as well. So we got that to look forward to, or not look forward to, depending on who you are. But I mean, it's House of Torture at the end of the day. What else am I supposed to say here? It's House of Torture, but that's going to be a part of the Sakura Genesis card. I don't know. I would have just done the Boltin Oleg and Narita match at that card instead of wasting time with the trios matchup. Hopefully this doesn't lead to House of Torture winning more gold, because Bishamonten has been really good as the Never Openweight 6-man tag team champions. But we'll see what happens on April 4th. What did you think about this trios match and the matchup for Sakura Genesis?
Gato always finds a way to fail me, man. He always finds a way to fail me. Always giving me extra shit I don't need. And this never openweight 6-man tag. I don't need this. They beat them already. Exactly. This rematch is no. I don't care if it's a different configuration of the House of Torture. I don't care. I don't want this.
They're trying to ride the hot hand of Yujiro. They're like, Yujiro has gotten us 2 decent matches in a row. Let's see if he can do a third.
Yeah, about that. I just want to see Boltin Oleg versus Ren Narita at the end of the day. I just want to see that one-on-one. But, you know, the titles have to get defended. So I guess this is where we're at, right? So there's that. Yes, Yusuf did mention this. They talked it up on commentary as well. How Aaron Wolf would be
Aaron Wolf.
Yeah, would be a good tag team partner for Boltin Oleg in the future and stuff like that. We'll see if that happens. I was super surprised with how much lately they've been treating Aaron Wolf as a young lion, that Aaron Wolf actually got the tap out submission on Dick Togo here. So that threw me for a loop for all intents and purposes. But it happened. Good version there of a triangle arm and choke. So cool, I guess. Aaron Wolf to me is still, he just needs a lot of work. But they're working with him. They're working on him. They got to keep him in the spotlight because obviously, you know, for the Japanese fan base, He's a real shooter, so they're gonna keep him popular and all that jazz. But yeah, they need to get. I agree with the comment that was made earlier. I think Yusuf made the comment as well, that they need to get Boltin Oleg away from this House of Torture vortex. They just do.
Yes.
They need to get him away from this at all costs at this point. So, yeah, that's where I'm at with that.
No doubt whatsoever on that last comment for sure. Then we had our final preview tag. This one was gonna be a good one, as it was 8-man tag team action. TMDK represented by Zack Sabre Jr., Kosei Fujita, Ryohei Uemura, and Hartley Jackson going up against Unbound Company's IWGP Heavyweight Champion and Global Heavyweight Champion Yota Tsuji, the IWGP World Tag Team Champions Yuto Ice and Oscar, the Knockout Brothers, and everyone's new favorite Dake Nagai, as they went up in 8-man tag team action. I love the dynamics that Unbound Company have with the different groups. Like, they have this kind of like all-out hatred with United Empire, whereas with TMDK there is kind of part of it where it's like the hatred of Yuto Ice has for everyone from the classes of the New Japan Dojo before him, like a Ryohei Uemura. But there's also like this competitive fire between these two factions, Unbound Company and TMDK, and that was on display here. You get Ice, who was going after Uemura, Sabre, and Fujita in the early going. He barely was able to stagger Hartley Jackson, though. His Bumbleclot knee further punishment to Uemura in the early going. Oscar went at it with Zack Sabre Jr. Zack went after the knee of the giant for a bit. The orange-clad Brit Zack cut off Oscar's leg and then torqued on it with a standing ankle lock. We get Sabre, who countered Oscar's leg drop attempt and gets him with the PK. Tsuji temporarily got Hartley Jackson off his feet and he puts him on his shoulder, but it was Hartley who used his power and his weight to power down on the IWGP Heavyweight Champion. Fujita came in with a lot of fire going after Tsuji, his fellow dojo alumni. We get Nagai, who came in with a bunch of fire in this one, going at everybody. Love the exchanges between Tsuji and Fujita in this one, as well as Fujita and Nagai. You got the tag team matchup of Uemura and Zack going at it with Knockout Brothers in this one. Uemura and Yuto Ice always have this little bit extra intensity when they're going at it with one another, and that was on display in this matchup. It came down to the juniors of Fujita and Nagai in the ring. Nagai just unloaded on Fujita's chest with a echoing chop that went across the arena. Fujita retorted with a God special, and then momentarily the fire and spirit were drained from Nagai as he was locked in a hammerlock submission from Fujita, as he was forced to tap out to give TMDK the victory here. But things were not over with the matchup, which I thought was the best of the preview tags. I gave this one 3.5 stars. A lot of good action in this one. Like I said, the Unbound Company and TMDK, they have a different type of chemistry from when you see like Unbound Company versus United Empire or TMDK versus Hontai. It's different dynamics there. Ice and Uemura would get into the ring, and they had this great promo exchange talking about their ideologies and their psychology when it comes to their professional wrestling and the way they go about things in the ring. And it sets up a rematch for Sakura Genesis for the IWGP World Tag Team Championships. It's going to be the Knockout Brothers versus TMDK, a rematch from one of the best tag team matches of the year so far back at New Year's Dash, as we got another round of Uemura and Zack versus Yuto and Oscar coming up on April 4th. So that should be a great matchup once again between these two teams. What do you think about this match being set up for April 4th, the next big show from New Japan Pro Wrestling, the 8-man tag and the promo exchange that followed, J-News?
The promo exchange was both very... how do I say? The promo exchange continues to tell the story between Yuto Ice and Ryohei Uemura, right? that fervor, that tension, that intensity, that disdain between the two. It continues to tell that story. And I like it, right? Because not everybody needs to like one another. And it seems like Yuto Ice just gets under so many people's skin. And that's just the way that he goes about business. So I like that. Not for nothing. I understand this is not a New Japan thing. It doesn't happen all the time or damn near ever. But the night before, Kosei Fujita took it upon himself to rile up one Yota Tsuji. They had a chop battle. They were hitting each other as hard as possible. Kosei Fujita try to show off in front of Yota Tsuji. I want that match. I want to see Yota Tsuji versus Kosei Fujita one-on-one, man. I want that match, but I feel like New Japan will never give it to us at the end of the day. But because we didn't get it at anniversary, that's usually the time where the heavyweight champion and the junior champ go one-on-one. And obviously Doki's the fucking junior champion, so there's that about it. But if we ever get to the point,
I don't want to see that matchup now.
But if we ever get to a point where Tsuji is champ still and Fujita's junior champ, like that match is gonna bang, man. And I want to see that at some time in the future, at some point in the future. We're gonna see. I think we're gonna see plenty of Daiki Nagai versus Kosei Fujita come Best of Super Juniors. So definitely looking forward to that and how that's gonna break down in the next coming weeks and months. And yeah, man, the tag team stuff, man, the Knockout Brothers versus TMDK here. It might get ugly at some points during that match because no one in there seems to like one another. I thought just from a booking standpoint, I felt like it was a bit too soon for a rematch, but understanding how the cup was booked, right? It's like, all right, well, they have to go with this because that's the way they've been booking the shows and stuff like that. Because in my mind, it's like, okay, so we're having a rematch this soon. Does that mean that KOB loses the championships here? Because you know how Gato likes to play hot potato with the belts and stuff like that. So it's like, I know they've had the belts for a long period of time now, and it might be just due, but they're still so hot. It's like, do you take the belts off of KOB here? So, you know, I'm not too sure as to how this is going to end up, but I'm sure it's going to be a great match. They had a great tag team match, as you said, during New Year's Dash as well. So Sakura Genesis is lining up to be a great show. And this tag team match is gonna add to it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. That should be. It's either this or the main event. That's gonna be the match of the night. But I'm looking forward to what they have to offer. I was gonna ask you because we had this debate where we talked about the best matches from Revolution yesterday. Of course, check out our Revolution review where J-News talked a lot about that show. What in your opinion is the tag team match of the year? I think that this year has just been a great year already. Like really a quarter of the year in, and I think it's been already a great year for tag team wrestling, where you have like a couple of different contenders for the best tag team matchup of the year, whether it's especially from New Japan, where the Knockout Brothers have been killing it with their matchup with TMDK at New Year's Dash. They had the matchup with Shota Umino and Yuya Uemura from New Beginning. You had the Uemura and Shooter versus Tomohiro Ishii and Tai Chi from the Road to New Beginning. That was a 5-star classic. And then also in AEW, you had FTR versus the Young Bucks at Revolution. Out of those four, what in your opinion is the tag team match of the year so far?
Man, the one that still sits with me the most, and shout out to all those matches for real. I mean, it's specifically the Revolution match between FTR and the Bucks, but the one that still sits with me the most and surprised me the most was the New Year's Dash match between TMDK and KOB. That match to me, especially with how not knowing how Zach was going to take to going into a tag team again, for what seems to be on a full-time basis right now, and you know, how much more evolution have we really gotten from Big Roy, and we got plenty of it in that match, which is why I was like, I was taken aback, and the way KOB was working, it was It was masterful, bro. And usually the New Year's Dash show is just to get everybody on the show so they can get a payday and, start to build up new storylines. And when we got that match there, a lot of us were a little bit confused because we thought it should have been on Wrestle Kingdom. But, to have that match as the main event, I was like, okay, they made the right decision, especially with how it all ended up. So I'll take that match right now out of the 4 that you mentioned. Close runner-up, second place is going to be FTR versus the Bucks, man. Because, man,
that's mine right now. Like I would probably put the TMDK KOB at third.
Mm-hmm.
But I have FTR and the Bucks 5 at number 1. Then it's probably the Shooter and Uemura versus Ishii and Taichi. That one surprised the hell out of me. It didn't surprise me for Ishii, but that was the first glimpse that Uemura and Shooter had taken the next step in their progression. That tag team match gave us an indication of what was to come. And then I would put the KOB versus Uemura and Shooter, which no salt on that game, being number 4 out of that group of tag team matches. And then probably 5th, I would probably put another New Japan match. New Japan's been killing it with tag team wrestling. I would put the Robbie X and Taiji Ishimori versus Ishiban Sweet Boys from the anniversary show. That was a tremendous matchup.
That was cool. Shouts to Mr. Bonda in the chat. I haven't gotten around to seeing the Sari's anniversary show as of yet, but that's been the chatter online about. I'm
gonna go out my way to watch that this week, man.
So definitely something I'm going to be looking forward to watching maybe later on the night and whatnot. But yeah, man, it's been a banner year so far for tag team wrestling. So things have been going well. Internationally, things have been going well. AEW wise, I'll say things have been going well. I never want to throw shade at R-Truth and what he's been doing all these years with WWE, but that tag team division, wherever it's I don't even know what that is. Yeah, I don't even know what that is. So there's that of it, even TNA from time to time they put on good tag team matches and stuff like that. Like I said, from time to time.
Yeah, I don't think it's like really about matches with TNA, but you have to give credit to the Hardys, who are still the top draw in TNA, being a tag team.
Yeah, man. That they're definitely carrying that division, and they're also at the same time teaching the younger guys, right? Because there's a lot of younger wrestlers on the TNA roster right now. Shout out to Judas Icarus and his tag team partner on TNA. I didn't know they were signed there. I thought they were just doing
Sinner and Saint.
Sinner and Saint. I didn't know they were signed there. I thought they were just doing per shots and stuff like that. But shouts to them. I think they're a really good up and coming tag team. And Judas Icarus himself as a singles wrestler is tremendous. Yeah, man. Tag team wrestling right now.
El Sky team in CMLL and Hermanos Chavez versus MXM connection. That's probably 6. That's probably 6 on my list. Like that's one of the best tag team matches that I've seen this year so far as well. MXM matchup I've ever seen.
Yeah, when you let Mansoor and Mace free, like those dudes can really put stuff together. And El Sky team, man, there's nothing to say about those dudes. Like they're tremendous, no matter where they are, whatever combination of the 3 it is, they get it done, man. So yeah,
facts. All right, finally, it is time to talk about the New Japan Cup final. It was Yuya Uemura going one-on-one with Callum Newman, 2 men making their first appearance in the New Japan Cup final, and boy, oh boy, did they deliver. Newman in the early going, he found himself the victim of Uemura going after his previous injuries. He came into this matchup with a taped up neck as well as a taped up arm, and Uemura he was relentless going after the arm in the early going. He got him down with a headlock. He used a leverage hold, got him into a head scissors. Uemura resumed control, going after Newman's bandaged left arm. The mat thundered though as Newman picked up speed and started using his quickness to get Uemura on the back foot before Uemura would bring him down with an arm drag. Newman then snatched the dominance of the matchup away. He stomped on the arm, the bandaged up arm of Uemura. He slammed it in the steel guardrail before a nearby Tanahashi was watching. This is where he spits at Tanahashi, showing his disrespect of the ace. Uemura mounted a comeback by way of a flying crossbody. Then we get Newman, who fired off a roundhouse kick, to which Uemura replied with a drop kick. He interrupted a vicious forearm exchange to plead with Uemura before spitting in his face. He tried to get into his head as the Nagata crowd boomed with applause when Newman's lariat basically turned Uemura inside out. We get a poison Rana and then the Excalibur get to Uemura, but he's only able to get a 2 count. Uemura fired up this crowd. This crowd was so behind Uemura in this matchup. You get Newman, who obliterated Uemura with a firebolt, but that only got a 2 count. Zane J tried to charge referee Red Shoes to distract him from a steel chair that was slid into the ring. He tried to hit you get Newman, who tries to hit Excalibur on the chair, but then Uemura is able to move out the way. He hits a drop kick on Callum, then he throws the chair at Newman and he hits him with the drop kick. Uemura struck Newman with the deadbolt suplex, which was met by Newman, who hits the Prince's Curse. We get the desperation, the sense of urgency was off the charts in the late goings of this matchup. Prince's Curse only gets a 2 count, and this crowd just gets more fired up, rallying behind Uemura. I haven't seen a crowd this emotionally invested in a babyface in a New Japan Pro Wrestling ring probably since Tanahashi. We get the Dragon Suplex. He only gets a 2 count on Callum. Deadbolt Suplex, but he's unable to hold on due to the damage to his bandaged up arm. He goes to the top rope. He hits the high cross, but that only gets him a 2 count. German suplex, snapdragon, deadbolt suplex, grounds Newman. The United Empire's leader rejected a flying cross of the next one, and he hits him with a big kick to the chest. He hits the Prince's Curse, but then he says that's not going to be enough. He makes him kiss the crown with a big lariat, turning Uemura inside out, and then he pulls out a new weapon from his arsenal. He picks Uemura up on his shoulder, hits him with like a Uranagi style twisting Uranagi move, and he gets the 1, 2, 3. Callum Newman is the youngest ever winner of the New Japan Cup tournament. He receives the cup from the ace, from the president, Hiroshi Tanahashi. You get no more disrespect after he spit at him earlier in the matchup. He poses with Tanahashi. You could see the emotion on Newman's face. The rest of United Empire joins him at ringside as he celebrates. We get Newman, who gets on the mic, but then Yota Tsuji comes out. We get Newman, who boasts about his victory. Tsuji informs him that he'd be ready at Sakura Genesis. Tsuji showing no fear of Callum Newman until the United Empire surrounds Tsuji, but Newman tells him to hold off. He lets the champion depart as he sent his message and knows that he's coming for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. They get the New Japan Cup winner. He moved on, stating his goal now that he has made this latest milestone. He says that he will be the new ace of NJPW. We get the proper celebration for Newman as you get the confetti coming out. The celebration was on as Callum Newman makes history, 23 years old, the youngest ever winner of the New Japan Cup tournament. And on April 4th, he tries to become the youngest ever IWGP heavyweight champion. What a fucking match. Absolutely outstanding encounter between Callum Newman and Yuya Uemura. Uemura, I think that is not even a question anymore. he might just be a top 10 best wrestler in the world right now. When it comes to being a pure white meat babyface, the love and adulation that he has from this crowd in Japan is undeniable at this point. The way this crowd rallied behind him. I came into this matchup as someone that was like, I want Callum Newman to win. Callum Newman would gain so much from this win. He deserves to win because he has established himself as a new top heel in New Japan Pro Wrestling. And because of the whole dynamic between Unbound Company and United Empire, it just works for Callum Newman to win this one. But I found myself in the final 5 to 10 minutes of this matchup just rallying behind Yuya Uemura as well. When he kicks out of the Prince's Curse, the way that Callum Newman just beat a freaking Shota Umino the night before, when he kicks out of that, I'm like, Uemura's gonna do it. They're actually gonna pull the trigger on Uemura winning this. I was convinced. I tweeted it out because I was so convinced at that point. But Callum Newman really had just come into his own over the last 6 months, taking control, taking the mantle of United Empire. He showed so much poise in this matchup. His selling of the damage of the tournament was so well done. He's got the neck he was selling, the arm he was selling. Uemura's selling and psychology is just off the charts. Like I said, he's a top 10 best wrestler in the world right now, but this was Callum Newman's night. Callum Newman deserved this win, and this matchup was absolutely superb. One of the best matches of the year from New Japan Pro Wrestling in a first quarter of the year where they put on all these great matches. We mentioned all the tag matches, but you have Yota Tsuji and Konosuke Takeshita from Wrestle Kingdom. You had what a lot of people are calling the match of the year already from January 4th between Kazuchika Okada and Hiroshi Tanahashi. Tanahashi's final matchup. This is right up there with those matchups. I can't give it anything less than 5 stars. This is a 5-star, a perfect final to the New Japan Cup tournament. And this was the personification of tournament wrestling in New Japan right here by 2 of the next generation, 23 years old, 20-something years old that Uemura is. This was absolutely superb from both guys. What did you think, J-News?
Yeah, man, I went into this match. I went into this match after watching the rest of the tournament, and I said to myself, if there's anything less than a 5-star match here, the young guys failed the tournament, right? So that's high pressure coming from me, and I'm nobody to them. But when I started freaking watching the match, I said to myself, okay, they're going to tell this story, and we're going to follow along. Because they're working a very classic style of match. It's body part for body part, cell for cell. Who can do it better? And they were trying to do the one-upsmanship with one another, not just in moves, but just the general skill set of what it is to be a professional wrestler. And I said to myself, okay, these guys are on their game right now. Let's see how this develops. And Big Man Dog said this. There were a couple of near falls where I was sold, bro. Like, oh my God, is he really kicking out of this? And I was like, for as many near falls as there were, and I get it. A lot of us we get tired of all the near falls in certain matches because it just becomes too much. But in this one, I was like, we just couldn't tell who the better man was until the bell rung at the end of the match. And when Callum Newman pulled it out, I said to myself, okay, we got to where I wanted it to get to, me specifically in my head. But at the same time, even with that, Callum Newman's elevation is one thing, but Yuya Uemura's elevation is another, right? A tournament doesn't have to be a device for one specific talent. It can be a device for multiple talents. And in this instance, and this iteration of the New Japan Cup, it worked not just for Callum, it worked for Yuya Uemura, it worked for Shooter Umino, it worked for Boltin, Oleg Boltin, or Boltin Oleg, whatever.
Roye Uyawa. They did like 5 different guys from this new generation just benefited so much from this tournament.
Yeah, man.
Even someone that's a veteran like Zach, who put on two back-to-back bangers with Shoto and with Roye Uyawa. So yeah,
and even though he wasn't even a part of the tournament, with Tsuji's presence on the tour, he was still made out to be the top guy, the superstar of the freaking company, the double champion. He presented and he reached and he projected, and he's still that guy. When he came out after Callum's win here and him hoisting up the freaking trophy, and I was like, this son of a bitch looks like $1 million out here. Look at this suit. Look at this suit. Look at the way the freaking, to use a lesser term, like how majestic version 4 of the IWGP Heavyweight Championship looks. Just the presentation of it. And I was like, dude, what? This is a champion right here. And a lot of the time I don't really buy into the whole look thing, right? But like the way that Tsuji has put it all together, I'm like, yeah, they picked the right guy. You know, they really picked the right guy. And you know, his emphasis and how he's been wanting to reimagine New Japan in his image, it seems like everyone took heed, and everyone else of the new generation took heed, and they're stepping up because he wanted everybody to step up, you know, and thankfully they have, and they got that message, and that's what we've been talking about for a few years now, SP3, as we've been doing all of our New Japan show reviews and previews. We've just wanted the new generation to step up and take over. And this New Japan Cup has shown us that we weren't wrong for thinking that. You know, like the talent.
Because this was like the culmination of not only that, the guys stepping up, but New Japan saying, here's the ball.
Yeah.
It was the culmination of both of those things in this tournament.
Yeah, for sure, man. And I want to give everybody their props, and you know, for all intents and purposes, we'll talk down or shit on matches that were bad and all that stuff. But we know that everybody's a cog on the wheel to make these things happen. Don't get it twisted. But it's like the stepping up, New Japan giving them the ball. I think for all intents and purposes, I'll mention this as well. And I thought it was just more of a ceremonial thing, but I think he really is more hands-on than anything else. Like the ace being the president of New Japan has swayed quite a bit of what's been going on presentation-wise. So shouts to Tanahashi, man, I mean, Tana's been the flag bearer of New Japan for the last quarter century, and he continues to be that after retirement. And the way he wants to see New Japan be, this is the image of this New Japan pro wrestling product that we have right now as the New Japan Cup is in the image of Tanahashi. And I feel like keep going this way, Tanahashi. Have your foot on Gato's neck when it comes to booking, when it comes to certain things. Like we just can't diverge from here, because we need all of the wrestling promotions to be strong in their own way, right? They don't have to be these multi-billion-dollar conglomerates. Would it be cool? Sure, but they just stay strong in your own way. And you know, they mentioned about New Japan going back onto national TV for Dominion and stuff like that. Like those things matter. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So especially with how the New Japan Cup ended up, them going into Security Genesis and then walking into Dominion, it's going to be a big deal. You know, so they got to keep this hot. They got to keep this going. Let the new generation run with the goddamn ball. And go with it, man. But to with this main event, to bring this all back around, it was fantastic, man. I can't give those two dudes any more credit than what they've been given over the last 24 to 48 hours. For people who don't believe, start believing, man. Start believing. New Japan's on the up. I'm not saying, like I said, I'm not saying they're going to be taking over the freaking airwaves, but for what New Japan is and has always been, they're on the up. So keep your eyes peeled to New Japan Pro Wrestling. You know that we will. At the end of the day, we ain't gonna fail you. Me and SP3 ain't gonna fail you.
We gonna keep talking. We here to push the agenda.
Yeah, man.
I feel like Mr. Bond here in the chat. Like I'm glad I stayed for the future of grabs because it's now. It is now. And he also sends us a super chat donation. Thank you so much. Call me Mr. Bonda. Who says Viva the youth, nostalgia be damned. And we also got thank you again, Mr. Bonda. Big Man Dogs, who says this match had more near falls I fell for than any match in recent memory. Yeah, like I told you, like him kicking Uemura kicking out of the Prince Curse. I was like, yo, he's about to do this. He's about to be. And I have like New Japan is the only promotion that gets me to get like hyped up off of victory like I'm watching a sports team, like I'm watching the Lakers in the playoffs. That's how I was when Callum gets that 1, 2, 3. I'm like, yeah, let's go. I was fired up. It's like Saturday morning, it's like 7 a.m. over here, and I'm just like fired up because Callum got the win. I was like, yes, this is why we're the king of sports.
Yeah, man, that's another thing. Thank you for that, SP3. The King of Sports bit of it, right? We had more than one wrestler point at that line mark during this tournament. Yeah. And it goes to show, sometimes it's not just a gimmick. You know what I'm saying? That line mark does mean a lot to some people. And for them to turn this around and make it what it's supposed to be, right? This is wrestling for the sport guy, for the sport people, not the guy, just sport people in general, people who love the sport of professional wrestling, right? Because it's like I said before, during our intro and whatnot, New Japan Pro Wrestling's not going to give you Western drama-filled TV, vignette shit. You know what I'm saying? They'll do that to debut a new character, but for all intents and purposes, this is what drives New Japan. This is the product that drives New Japan. It's the in-ring storytelling, the believability of it all, the sport of it all, right? Because it needs to feel like a battle. It needs to feel like a war in there. And if they continue to give us that feeling, the seesaw feeling, not knowing who's really going to win, that's the sport of it. And they gave us that in this New Japan Cup final. Props to those two guys. And continued success to them all. At one point or another, I'll put this out there into the universe. At one point or another, I want to see Callum Newman as the IWGP World Champion.
Yes.
At one point or another, I want to see him there.
I don't know if it's happened at Sakura Genesis. I think you need to continue the run that Tsuji's on, but you're absolutely right. I think that he should. By the time he's 25, he should already be an IWGP heavyweight champion. Yeah.
I think that's something that they have to make abundantly clear to that New Japan fan base with him and his antics and stuff like that. And he was there conducting the crowd as well, getting the boos, getting the heat, and all that stuff. Like I said, it's just making the people believe at the end of the day, and that's part of the entertainment factor of the business. And the kid knows what he's doing, so shouts to him. And I wanted to mention, as we got here, before I freaking forget, during his post-match comments, he brought up something in regards to Will Ospreay, and they were saying it during commentary where, he was, Will Ospreay was his mentor, this, that, and the third, or whatever the case is, and now how Callum Newman is carving out his own niche and whatnot, and how he doesn't want to be under Will Ospreay's shadow. And then he mentioned something very specific where he said, he's the leader not only of the United Empire, but of New Japan Pro Wrestling. Like, he's the ace. And he basically doesn't give two shits about anybody who's outside of the New Japan umbrella. So I'm here like, we creating war line. Like, we've drawn lines in the sand right now. Not only is it just Tsuji, but now add Callum Newman to the mix, drawing these lines in the sand. It's like, okay, so if we get Callum Newman versus Will Ospreay for Forbidden Door, can that be a thing? Yota Tsuji versus whoever he wants to take on at the end of the day, even if it has to be a blood feud battle with Gabe Kidd, because Gabe Kidd crossed lines. Like, there's there's a built-in storyline there if they wanted to happen. I think somebody said it in the chat earlier. KOB needs to be a part of Forbidden Door. I don't know how they match-up that. I think champion versus champions would be 100% thing to do in this estimation. What side of the line does Takeshita fall on by the time Forbidden Door comes around, since he is a Triple E contracted wrestler? This year's version of Forbidden Door has a lot of intrigue going into it at the end of the day, with the battle lines being drawn, to use a phrase, which I thought was something they should have done 2 years ago. But nobody listens to me, though.
We're here now. But we got to wrap things up on this review here. So sound off in the live chat. Y'all know the deal. It's time to rate this show. Give us your match of the night. Give us your match of the tournament. Give us your MVP for the tournament, LVP for the tournament, whether you gave the New Japan Cup a thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle, and out of 10, what did you give the New Japan Cup tournament in totality? For me, NJ News for the NJ Cup 2026 tournament in 3, 2, 1. Thumbs up across the board from both of us. Out of 10, what did you give the New Japan Cup tournament this year?
Because it started so slow, I'm gonna go with an 8. I was teetering between 7.5 to 8. I'll give it the 8 because the last 3 nights were really, really strong. Quarterfinals, semifinals into the finals. So I'm gonna give the entire tournament an 8. So I'm gonna line there.
I'm going to give it an 8.5. I think that especially the semifinals and finals were so strong, and the quarterfinals was really good. I think that it gets into that 8.5 range, and I'll go 8.5, be the high man there. MVP for the tournament, J-News.
Oh, that's rough, bro. Shit. You know what? MVP for the tournament, because of how strong his tournament in full was, and there wasn't any chicanery involved in his matches by majority. I'll give it to Yuya Uemura.
I'm also going to give it to Yuya Uemura. Even the matchup with Great Okan, that was decent. He had a good match with Drilla Maloney, great match with Shingo Takagi, great match with Boltin Oleg, and then probably a match of the year candidate. And he is my pick to win the G1 Climax. He feels like the new ace of New Japan Pro Wrestling. So I'm going to give it to Yuya Uemura. Honorable mention to Shota Umino, though, because he deserves some love as well. LVP for the tournament, I'm going to give it to Don Fale and Ren Narita. Who do you give it to?
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, House of Torture, pretty much. And then the match of the tournament, I'm giving it to the final. Callum Newman versus Yuya Uemura.
Not to take anything away from the final, because it was great, and you gave it 5 stars. I agree with you. But for one reason or another, for me, I'm landing on Shooter versus Callum. That match did something for me that I didn't know it could give me. So I'm on Shooter versus Callum.
That's fair as well. That's a great matchup as well. Don't blame you at all. But that is moment of the tournament. I'm going to give it moment of the tournament. I will actually give it to Shota Umino's busted nose in the Zack match. Because that was a turning point for Shota Umino. What about you?
I'll give you that. I'll give you that. And I will raise you what I mentioned earlier. The chop off between Tsuji and Kosei Fujita, to me, I know it's a lower freaking multi-man match thing, but that exchange and their exchange, it just gives me hope for the future at the end of the day. So that was my moment of the tournament.
Fair. Also fair. But we've come to the end of our review of the New Japan Cup 2026 tournament. If you're watching us on demand, let us know in the comments down below what you thought about this year's tournament. Call Me Mr. Bonda says he got MVP to Yuya Uemura, LVP to Gato and Nefarious Booking, match of the tournament to Callum Newman and Shota Umino like you did, and match of the night to the New Japan Cup finals. So he spread it out, the love there a little bit. And we got I think this is Genesis J again. He says LVP, whoever booked Fale to ever win a matchup. Yes, his first match won in 4 years. Never do that again, Gato. But we've come to the end of our New Japan Cup coverage, but we will be back next week pretty much for our preview of Sakura Genesis. We're going to preview the junior show as well as the final show on April 4th. That is a week from this Saturday. So I'm looking forward to breaking down the action there and hearing J-News predictions for that. Thank you as always to J-News. Thank you as always to all of you watching. Drop the thumbs up, share the video, subscribe if you are new. J-News, let the people know where they can follow you on social media and when they'll see you again.
Follow me over on the Twitter machine at JohnLYFNMG. Follow me on Instagram _JONJY. You can see me every Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Hit the Ropes podcast on my YouTube channel, along with the lovely Dolores. Yeah, I'll be back next week. As SP3 said, we're going to break down the night before Sakura Genesis and then Sakura Genesis, and then whatever other information comes out about the best of Super Juniors as it trickles out. So we'll be covering that, and hopefully our third will be joining us in the coming weeks, months.
I am sure of that. But yes, we'll be back for that. You can follow me on the Twitter machine at TrueHillSP3. Follow the gang, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at TrueHillHeat. Patreon.com/TrueHillHeat. $3 a month. Get you exclusive content. The best way to support us when we're not live here. I'll be back tomorrow, 1:05 p.m. Eastern Time with Rated Raw Review, reviewing tonight's Monday Night Raw. For J-News, it is me, your True Hill Phenom, SP3. This has been our NJPW New Japan Cup 2026 final review. We are signing off until next time.